Drum roll please everybody. Now I know you've been asking for some time that I feature some trail running shoes from Finnish brand VJ on the channel. Well, good things definitely come to those who wait, but this isn't any old pair of VJ trail shoes. It's actually a pair of their very much hyped, soon to be released Ultra 3s. So I'm not going to keep you any longer. Let's dive into the video and take these bad boys out for their first run. Welcome back folks, I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run for Adventure, and welcome back to an incredibly happy day. Now the reason that it's happy is because I am back running after damaging my hamstring a couple of weeks ago. So if you're new to the channel then you might not be aware, but I had a nasty fall out on the coast path while I was doing a long run. I happened to put my right foot in a bog and then my left foot slipped out from under me, and I ended up doing a pretty aggressive splits, which is never going to go well for me. So I actually damaged the top of my left hamstring. However, a couple of weeks off running, a trip to my brilliant sports physio Paul Coker, and lots of rehab exercises, and we are back on track. And if I was to say that I'm incredibly happy about heading outside for a run today, it would be a massive understatement. So let's start off by giving you a few facts and figures, and the new VJ Ultra 3 is available to pre-order on the VJ Shoes website for £159 here in the UK. Although I will say, it doesn't look like they've got many sizes left for pre-order, so I think this is going to be a very popular trail running shoe this year. So I've got to say a big thanks to VJ Shoes UK for sending out an early pair of the Ultra 3s for me to test and review. As far as the weight goes, considering we've got this deeply cushioned midsole, we've also got a nice chunky deep lug on the outsole, VJ have managed to keep the overall weight of the shoe down to under 300 grams. So my pair in a UK 9.5 tips the scales at 298 grams, so not too bad. Also, we get an 8mm offset, so we've got a stack height of 38mm at the heel and 30mm under the forefoot, so you get a good helping of the soft stuff. And actually, the new Ultra 3 is the most cushioned trail running shoe the brand has produced. And then finishing up, like I said, we've got this nice chunky 4.5mm lug pattern on the outsole. When it comes to the construction of the new Ultra 3s, it's pretty much a brand new shoe from the ground up when we compare it to the previous version. So starting at the top, and we've got this lightweight, highly breathable, multi-zone engineered upper, which comes with a pretty thin gusseted tongue design. So there's not a lot of padding there, and I've got to be honest, I'm not a massive fan of a thin tongue in my trail running shoes, so it's going to be really interesting to see how comfortable that is out on today's run. However, you do get a moderate level of padding around the ankle collar and in the heel cup, and also the material that VJ have lined that heel area in feels very soft and plush to touch, so I think that's going to be nice and comfortable. But they also say that it's got anti-slip properties, so it'll be good to test that out today. On the medial side of the upper, you can see that we've got VJ's innovative fit lock system. So this is designed to offer you optimum fit by locking the foot in from the arch, and I actually tried them on indoors to check the sizing, and I've got to say that system did offer me a nice secure lockdown around my midfoot, and I've got to say it felt really good when I was wearing them indoors. Also, they say that it offers the foot a bit of medial protection when you're running on sort of technical rocky trails. And then finishing up, when it comes to the construction, we got a pretty standard looking lace system. However, you do get these little notch laces, and they look very similar to the brilliant laces that I love on Nike's Vaporfly Performance Road shoe. So hopefully these will give you a similar secure lockdown, and they will stay locked down throughout the run. We've also got some structural overlay starting at the heel, working along that midfoot, over the lace eyelets and wrapping around that toe box, just for a bit of extra substance and a bit of extra durability. And then we have a nice toe bumper up front for a bit of on-trail protection. Moving down to the new midsole construction, and this is where we probably see the biggest updates when we compare it to the midsole on the previous version. So this is a new take on VJ's Superfoamance midsole. See what they did there? Superfoamance. And this time around they are using a high-tech, ultra lightweight, nitrogen-infused supercritical foam. And this has been designed to deliver more performance, more propulsion, more comfort and more energy return when we compare it to the midsole on the Ultra 2s, and that's all been wrapped up in a lighter construction. Pushing into that foam, it does feel nice and springy, so I think these are going to offer good levels of energy return, and I'm excited to test that out on today's run. And then worked in between the midsole and the outsole, we've also got a full length rock plate to offer the underside of the foot a bit more protection when you're running on sharp rocky trails. But I've got to be honest, I'm not sure we need a rock plate in a trail shoe that has such a deep stack of cushioning, but I suppose it's nice to have that bit of extra protection just in case. And then the whole midsole is finished off with a pretty aggressive rocker geometry, and that's designed to give you that sort of nice smooth transition and to help out with efficient running. And then last but not least, the all-important outsole. And this is kind of what the VJ brand has become known for, because you know their shoes are designed and developed in Finland, so they're built to handle some super technical, tricky trail conditions. And I would say actually not a million miles away from some of the sections of coast path that we run down here in Cornwall, and their actual tagline is the best grip on the planet. So I'm expecting good things when it comes to the performance of this outsole. And like I've already mentioned, we get this nice chunky 4.5mm lug pattern, and I think that's actually a good lug depth to handle a big mix of different terrain and underfoot conditions. And we've got these nice forward facing lugs on the forefoot, reverse facing lugs on the heel, so the level of traction should be good. As far as the rubber goes, you get VJ's superior contact butyl rubber, and this is supposed to be super sticky when you're running on rocky or wet rocky trails, and I've heard nothing but good things when it comes to the performance of this outsole. So speaking of performance, I guess it's time we find out what all the hype is about. So I'm off to get changed, I'm going to grab the cameras, and we'll see you out on the trails of Cornwall. Well, here we are in the beautiful Tahiti Woods, and look at me, I'm running and everything feels okay, but we're not going to get carried away today. We're going to keep it nice and steady. It's very wet, very muddy in here, but we're going to try and get in, 10k, 7 miles, obviously depending on how the leg feels, but so far so good. And the weather's changed. It was pretty rough this morning, but the sun is out, the sky is blue, and it's beautiful in the woods today, so should be a good run. Okay, so that is just over 3 miles ticked off already, and I gotta say, so far so good for body and for the new shoe. So you might have noticed on the initial clips there that my legs were feeling a bit stiff, but I don't think that's down to the injury. I just think that's down to the fact that I haven't run for 2 weeks, so it took a little bit of time for things to warm up. And I think what's really helping is the fact that when I injured my hamstring, it wasn't in a running motion, it was from that funny slip. So I've actually got no discomfort while I'm running, but treading carefully, taking it easy, because I don't want to have a trip or a slip and then injure it again. So we're doing sort of 9-minute miling, just enjoying being back out in the woods and running again. As far as the new Ultra 3 goes, the first thing I'm going to talk about is fit. So I'm finding them true to size. This UK 9.5 is giving me good length in the toe box, but I think the biggest surprise is the kind of lockdown it's giving me around the midfoot. I mean, if I was to say I'm nice and secure in this shoe, that would be a massive understatement. So I think that fit lock system is working really well, really does hug your midfoot, and I'm feeling super secure in the shoe, very confident when it comes to my footing. And I would say, even though it is a very fitted shoe, there's actually pretty good volume and width in the toe box, so I've got a nice bit of wiggle room up front. But like I said, just over 3 miles done. I think we're definitely going to get 7 miles in today because the legs are feeling good. Touch wood, don't want to tempt fate. So let's crack on, let's get this run done. Right, we are heading back to the adventure bus on this notoriously slippy piece of woodland trail. So I've learned from my lesson in the ASICS shoe, so we're gonna walk and talk to the camera. I think that's a much more sensible option, but great to have some confidence in the grip when it comes to the outsole of this shoe after all the escapades and accidents and injuries in the ASICS Trabuco Max. You know, they say it's the best grip on the planet, and it has performed brilliant today. Very muddy, very wet, very slippery, and that 4.5mm lug has given me a really safe, good level of traction. And this is what I was saying about the ASICS shoe. That's a 4mm lug, this is 4.5mm, so 0.5mm in it, but the difference in traction is night and day. Obviously, we've had some wet, slippery routes to deal with and some rockier sections as well, and that rubber feels super sticky. So I'm kind of in agreement, you know, when they say best grip on the planet, it is performing well in a wet, muddy woods today. So we've got about a mile to go on the run, so it should be just over 7 miles. Super happy with that. Leg feels good, shoes perform well. So let's get back to the studio and let's wrap this video up with a quick conclusion. Well, that is definitely mission accomplished. So 7 miles in the bag, and I survived to tell the tale. The body is in one piece. I'm not gonna lie, my legs do feel a bit heavy now, and it's amazing what 2 weeks off running can do, but really happy to get through that. And it's only 2 weeks since the fall and the injury, and I've got to be honest, when it happened I thought I was going to be out of action a lot longer than that. I was thinking a couple of months rather than a couple of weeks. So a very positive outcome today, and it's onwards and upwards from here. As far as the new VJ Ultra 3 goes, it was a very positive outcome for the shoes as well. Obviously, with it being my first run back, I didn't want to get carried away, so I stuck to the more well-trodden trails and paths, and I didn't go on anything overly technical or overly muddy, and the shoes performed really well straight out of the box. I've got to say it, one of probably the most secure fitting midfoots in a trail shoe I've ever experienced. So I think that really does mean that this FitLock system is working well. And then you pair it up with those notched laces and you're left with a very secure fit that doesn't work loose while you're running. And that just made me feel really dialed in and connected to the shoe. So once I'm up to it, once I've got my full fitness back, I'm going to be taking these on a longer run on a technical section of coast path, because I think that's where the Ultra 3s will really shine. And because of that very precise, secure fit and the confidence it gives you, really does feel like a shoe that would be great fun to sort of run faster and push the pace on more challenging terrain. Now, before we went out for the run, I did have my doubts about this very thin gusseted tongue design and how comfortable it was going to be, but I shouldn't have worried because it actually felt nice and comfortable across the top of my foot. So fit and upper comfort passes the first run test with flying colours, but I also enjoyed the ride quality that I got from this nitrogen infused foam midsole. It was comfortable over all the different types of terrain on today's run. However, I wouldn't necessarily call it soft. I would say it's more responsive than soft, and really did feel like it was returning me good levels of energy. Now, I've already mentioned it was just a steady run, first run back, so I took it nice and easy, but this midsole foam does feel like it would really sort of spring to life if I'd have upped the tempo and run quicker. And I reckon that VJ have got that balance of comfort, performance, stability and protection just right when it comes to the Superformance midsole. And you know, I'm really looking forward to taking this out on a more challenging, longer effort very soon. And then lastly, we've obviously got to talk about the thing that the VJ brand has kind of become famous for, and that is outsole performance. And it is definitely a bold statement by the brand to say that their outsoles on their trail running shoes offer the best grip on the planet, especially when you think there's brands like Vibram around taking the trail running world by storm with their mega grip rubber, and lots of the brands using it on their trail running shoes. But I've got to say it, the lug pan and this rubber performed really well out in the woods today, and it had rained all night long, so it was sitting very wet and muddy on the route, and this 4.5mm lug offered me great levels of traction even in the muddiest of sections, and that was exactly what I needed after the fall a few weeks ago. And when I picked up any sections of rockier trails or sections with slippery tree roots, this rubber felt super sticky, and I really can see now why runners have been raving about the levels of grip and traction they've been getting from their VJ trail shoes. And I can see how the brand was born in that competitive orienteering world where athletes are pushing the pace, moving quickly over rough, slippery, technical terrain. And you know, the Ultra 3s were just fun to run in. They felt exciting, they were nimble, responsive and comfortable, and they felt very well connected considering there's a lot of cushioning in that midsole, and that's just what I want from my trail running shoes. Obviously, these are just my initial thoughts after today's 7-mile comeback run, but really looking forward to running some more miles in these shoes, especially when I can move quicker and I've got some of that fitness back. So watch this space. Once I've clocked up some good miles in the Ultra 3s, we'll be back on the channel with a full in-depth review, and I'll let you know all about how the shoes are performing. So there you have it guys, my first ever run in a trail shoe from the Finnish brand VJ, and I personally think I've timed it just about right with the launch of the new Ultra 3s, and obviously my first run back after damaging my left hamstring, so it really is positives all round. If you've got any questions about the shoes, please feel free to get them in the comments below and I'll try and get back to them as soon as possible. And also, if you have enjoyed the video and you found it helpful, maybe give it a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, as it is a real big help to the channel. But for now guys, thanks for watching, it's greatly appreciated. We'll be back soon with some more interesting running content, and as always, stay safe and keep on running. VJ have managed to keep the weight of the shoe just under 300 grams. So my pair in a UK 9.5 tips the scales at 289 grams. No, 98 grams. We've also got an 8mm heel offset. So that gives us a stack height of 38mm at the heel, 20... what? And then finishing up, I can't remember what I was going to say, and I almost made it through. And oh, also, yeah, it offers protection. Come on, remember your lines.